What is happening, guys? It's Spruce Goose here, and welcome to part 2 of my free ebook for the spread/pass balance playbook. And these plays right here, they got some pop to them. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so for part 2 of this free ebook, we're in the formation gun Y-off trips, which is number 17 out of 33 in the shotgun formations here in the spread/pass balance playbook. And there are a lot of really cool plays in this formation, but my favorite one, as you guys probably already know, is RPO Bubble Y Pop. I run it all the time in my games that you guys see here on the YouTube channel. I run it all the time over on Twitch. I've done a video on this play for the Huddle GG YouTube channel, and so RPO Bubble Y Pop is absolutely my favorite play in the entire game. Now, obviously, we don't want to just rely on RPO Bubble Y Pop, so I have some other plays set up as my Audibles as well. RPO Read WR Screen, 0-1 Trap, Slant 2 Buck, and Strong Flood. We're going to go through all of these so that we can actually build a full mini scheme around the RPO Bubble Y Pop, which is still the foundation, of course. It's still the foundation of our gun Y-off trips, but if you just try to run RPO Bubble Y Pop every single play, your opponent will probably figure it out, and then you need to make sure you have some other plays in your arsenal as well to just, hit them with some different looks and keep them on their toes, not just assuming it's RPO Bubble Y Pop every play. So I already have an RPO Bubble Y Pop video, but I am going to run it real quick just to go over some basics again. We'll do random play on defense. So if you've ever seen me run this before, you know that I don't really use the two outside options. The X receiver on that fade/curl route, I don't really throw to him ever. I only very occasionally throw the bubble screen on the right side, and that's mainly because you don't get good blocking from that outside wide receiver. He almost never blocks for you, and then you're just losing yards or maybe going for no gain. So I focus on the three options in the middle: the running back, the quarterback, and the tight end. So to hand off to the running back, you're just going to hold down. If you're on Xbox, it'll be A. If you're on PlayStation, it'll be X. Whatever button you use to hike the ball, you just hold that down as your running back goes by, and it's basically just an inside zone. And you definitely want to be reading it if there's not a running lane or if the user is shooting the gap. I would not recommend handing it off. But if the user's staying back, maybe they're guarding the tight end or something, go ahead and hand it off. And it's a solid inside zone. I mean, it's not the best run in the game, but it can get you some solid yards. So there's not a whole lot to talk about, but it's an inside zone. It can get you 3 to 5 yards, I'd say, fairly consistently. We'll run it one more time. But that is not really the thing we're focused on this play. The second option, if you don't hand it off, you can run with the quarterback. I definitely recommend having an escape artist quarterback because that's where you're going to really get the most out of these quarterback runs. And also make sure you're holding down sprint and holding down the left stick, like pointing the left stick up and to the right if you decide you're going to run with the quarterback, because if you don't do either of those, if you just don't do anything, look, your quarterback is going to get into this passing stance, and then you're just in for a really bad time. So definitely hold down sprint and hold down the left stick, either straight to the, did I say up and to the left? I think I meant up and to the right. Either straight to the right or up and to the right. At least in this case, in the direction you want your quarterback to run really is where you want to point the stick. And then right after the running back goes by, you get a really smooth animation and be able to take off with your quarterback. Now, third option is, of course, going to be the tight end on the pop route. And sometimes you want to make a little bit of a pre-snap read. And right here, I'm going to say that if that linebacker with the P on his head, so he's the pass read, basically, if he jumps to the outside to guard the tight end, we're not going to throw it. If he crashes in, we're going to throw it to the tight end instantly. So right here, he jumps outside. We keep it with the quarterback, and we go up the middle. So let's do it again. Let's see if we can get one that's going to be open this time. And on the snap, you see no one was there. I'm going to throw it to him. And I mean, it was only a 7-yard gain, but we'll take that every time. We'll happily take a 7-yard gain. Same thing right here. We got to make that read. And I tried to force it in there because I'm trying to show you guys this example. I didn't want to just keep running with the quarterback. But that's a good example of how you can't necessarily just trust your pre-snap read. I should have been more careful with this. You can't just decide before the ball is snapped if you're going to throw it. It's something I still struggle with sometimes. It's something that you definitely have to practice. You definitely have to err on the side of caution, or else you can end up throwing some really bad interceptions, as I have done with this play. It's a really fun play, but it requires you to be responsible. Now right there, I was maybe being a little risky trying to throw it over that safety. I thought we had some space, but the tight end was a little bit slow. But as you guys can see, as long as you are careful with the read, throw it to the tight end only when he's truly open, you can get some really nice gains to the tight end. So that's RPO Bubble Y Pop. I don't want to waste your guys' time on it because I know you've seen it a bunch of times before. So now let's go through the different audibles. So I'm actually going to do the other run play first, even though I had that one not as the top audible. I have these ordered in just a weird way that makes sense to me. But let's go to the 0-1 trap. Again, not a ton to say on the 0-1 trap, but the reason the 0-1 trap is important is that on RPO Bubble Y Pop, people will figure out how to gap shoot. It's pretty simple to gap shoot out of either big nickel over G or nickel 335 wide. And so when that happens, you hit them with the 0-1 trap, you change that gap shoot. You make it so that they cannot come straight up the middle on the gap shoot like they're used to doing on the RPO Bubble Y Pop. Now, the downside is that 0-1 traps just simply aren't as good as they used to be. If you guys have watched right here, on 2 straight plays, my guard has gotten completely tossed. That's actually 3 straight plays. Fortunately, the block was enough, but 3 straight plays, the guard is getting completely tossed on his pull block, which is very unfortunate. And so I don't recommend going to this all the time. It's something that I like to just mix in there just to throw off their gap shoot and keep them guessing. Because when they know there's a threat of the 0-1 trap, they might not fly in there instantly to try and shoot the RPO Bubble Y Pop. So it's just about reminding them, I have an 0-1 trap and I'm not afraid to use it. Even though the reality is EA nerfed these 0-1 traps so that a lot of times the pulling guard gets tossed off like he is the worst O-lineman the world has ever seen. So keep the 0-1 trap in mind, even though it's not always going to be like a staple play necessarily, but it's great to mix in there. As you guys have seen, we're actually getting some okay gains on it. It's actually working a little better than even I would have expected. So if you can get solid gains on it, keep running it, because a lot of people struggle shooting 0-1 traps. So, sometimes you may actually just be able to stick with it, even though in my experience, most of the time, I think I'm going to get more consistent blocking from the inside zone, basically, of the RPO Bubble Y Pop. So that is the 0-1 trap. And now let's go back to our pass plays. And so first, let's look at the RPO Read Wide Receiver Screen. And this is not something you want to run all the time. This is just getting a little bit glitchy. RPO Read Wide Receiver Screen. And it's specifically going to work against man coverage, because a lot of times people will like to run maybe a Mike Blitz 0 against the RPO Bubble Y Pop, because having the tight end manned up will prevent the pop route from being open, and then you've got people crashing in on both the running back and the quarterback. And so I'm just gonna hand it off. I don't want to go against prevent defense. And so a lot of times people will run straight man coverage to try and stop RPO Bubble Y Pop. And so right here, we can actually get a little bit glitchy. And what we're going to do is we're going to motion over the slot receiver. And if you look at what happens, a lot of the time, we get that P icon above the receiver on the right side. And as long as your opponent doesn't pass commit, that cornerback is almost always going to come flying in, and you can throw it out there to that wide receiver for absolutely huge gains. Now, we have Larry Fitzgerald, who is about 0 speed. He is like the slowest wide receiver in the game, I think. But even Larry Fitzgerald could get about a 20-yard gain on that. And so this is not something you want to rely on. I'm not saying base your whole offense around this. But if they're running man coverage, a lot of times you can get good gains. Now, right there, he didn't go in. And I don't know if that play had a built-in pass commit or what. But they don't crash in every single time. And that's why you still have the RPO read as well. You can still run it with the quarterback. So definitely don't throw it completely blind. But as you guys can see, you can really catch your opponents off guard. I've gotten huge gains off of this before. And then the other thing is that if you wanted to, so we should actually go back and run some random play as well against this, because you won't always see man coverage. What you actually get as well is when you motion that slot receiver over. So let's go ahead and call random play so we get some zoning here as well. When you motion that slot receiver over, he also turns into a hitch route. We saw that as well back in my ebook for the trap alert bubble, that anytime you motion someone over on RPO who is like a blocking receiver, they actually turn into a hitch route. Now, it looks like it's still man coverage because that guy went with him, but let's say it was zone coverage. He might sit in a little soft spot between the zones, and you could hit the hitch on the left side for a 5-yard gain and maybe have some yards after the catch as well. You can also even smart route that guy to have it be a deeper curl if you want to look for that. But in this case, because the P icon is not the defensive back over the B receiver, I'm not going to be looking for the screen on that side. Right here, I'm probably just going to hand it off to the running back because, again, we did not get the P. That's very important to keep in mind, guys. You want to see the P over the receiver that you're trying to throw to. So right there, he comes up. Now it's the R that time. So the R is a little tricky. Sometimes he'll crash in, sometimes he won't. So we'll see if he comes in, and he did that time. But you definitely have to be careful because he won't come in every time. So this is a little glitchy. This is, again, not a fundamental part of the offense, but if you're in a tough situation and you don't think your opponent's pass committing, this can be absolutely deadly for picking up some nice yards. So that is the RPO Read wide receiver screen. Let's go back to the playbook again. And I believe the next audible, well, I actually can't remember which order I put it in, but let's look at the audibles. Slant to buck. And guys, the way I used to run this was actually as a cover 3 bomb where you would glitch out the middle third. But in my testing earlier, it actually seems like the middle third glitch might be patched by EA. So we're not going to worry about that right now. But slant to buck is still an excellent pass play. I'm just going to do random play for the defense. And the only adjustments I'm going to do are just put my tight end on a drag. You can do some other things as well that we'll look at in a sec. But even just this right here is a nice quick hike option. And worst case scenario is you can check down to your running back right here. He's doing that kind of delayed curl route. You've got your tight end on the other side as a check down. You've got some nice different levels to your play. You've got the drag, the dig, and then that deep post route as well. And so you got a lot of different options. And in man coverage, throwing a low ball dig over the middle is always going to be an excellent option. So I like the spacing on this play, and I like the levels on this play. And again, anytime you see that single man coverage, throw a low ball, just throw a low ball bullet pass to that receiver over the middle. And then sometimes, actually, they're going to leave the dig route open again. Oh, we got hit, unfortunately. But that is the basic route combo. You can also smart route this RB receiver, and that post route there is actually a very good man-beating route. Now, if that's the case, you definitely don't want to have that dig route in the way, so maybe put him on a streak. You can still put your tight end on a drag or something. Maybe wheel the running back out to the other side, and now you've got some options right there. And I'm going to try and fit that in, into that window, and wasn't quite there. I think with Gunslinger, you can make that throw. But unfortunately, we do not have Gunslinger in regs, but that's okay. So there's just different options. So I'm going to throw a low ball to the post route right there. So I definitely think if you're looking for that post route, I would recommend smart routing it. It just gets a really nice depth, whereas if you don't smart route it, it gets a little bit deep. So I'm going to look for the post again, and the middle linebacker was sitting there, but that's okay. That's okay. I still think that these are good route combos. And I think that with Gunslinger, you'll be able to make a lot of these throws. Also, don't forget to take your checkdowns when you have to. I'm very used to Gunslinger, and so these throws are all a little bit closer than I'm expecting, simply because they're just kind of looping in there and taking a little bit longer. You can also hit your running back on the wheel route because you've got all those routes. You got that the post route and the go route from the B receiver that are both going to be pushing those defenders back. And so a lot of time, if it's not man coverage, then the wheel route will be open as well. But right there, that was actually an excellent example of how good of a man-beating route the smart routed post route is. So Andy Isabella doesn't really have a whole lot of... his route running ranges are not very good. He has no abilities on him, but he still absolutely cooked Jamal Adams in man coverage. And so definitely keep that one in mind. And then besides that, if you wanted to, you could always put the tight end on a delay fade. And then if you're going to do that, I'd probably still put the running back on an out route. I like always having a check down to the other side of the field. And then if you're running the delay fade, I'd definitely roll out. And if nothing else is open, just hit your delay fade. And you got a nice little 10-yard gain right there. I mean, rollout delay fades are one of the best things in the game this year. Maybe if you're going to do the delay fade, go ahead and put your X receiver on a slant so that he's not in the way when you would want to run the delay fade. And then, yeah, it's either you read the X receiver or you read the delay fade. So there's a lot of different options, and I definitely recommend trying things out for yourself because everyone has different preferences. And right there, I saw the running back was going to come open, so I just threw to him right there. Everyone has different preferences. Different route combos make different, amounts of sense to different people. This would probably be my go-to, actually. It's just, I really like the rollout delay fades right now, especially if you have an escape artist quarterback. I definitely like those. But right here, that slant route's coming open over the, it just kind of split into zones, And so I don't know if you guys like these route combos or not. I know some of my loyal Twitch viewers will probably, they like making fun of my route combos. But I think this is a nice little route combo out of slant to buck. I think you guys got a couple options out of this as well. So that was slant to buck. Let's jump back into the playbook and look at our other audibles. We're back in gun Y-off trips, and strong flood is the final play that we're going to look at. Actually, there's one more play to look at after this, but strong flood, and this is mainly a man-beating play. And so, like I mentioned earlier, you'll see a lot of people running like Mike Blitz 0 or something against RPO Bubble Y Pop. You come out in strong flood, and that out route is one of the best man-beating routes in the game. If you guys saw my game against Mills and Friday Night Football, I was running this out route with Julio Jones and Mutt. No abilities on him, and he was beating a one-step ahead cornerback. And so this play almost entirely exists for that route right there. I definitely try to roll out a little bit and then throw it right on the break, because if you wait a little too long, especially if it's a one-step ahead corner, they might recover. If you throw it too soon, of course, especially if they were pressing, if you throw it too soon, you might just throw an interception because your receiver hasn't quite gotten to the break yet. So you definitely want to make sure they break and then throw the ball like right as they break. If you want to mess around with the routes a little more, if you have High Route Master, I like putting my tight end on a post route. I don't have that, so maybe we'll do an in route right here. And then it gives you another option to go to on the other side of the field. But the reason I like having him on that flat route most of the time is that if it ends up being a zone, and we can go back and call random play on the defense so we get some zone in here as well. But if it ends up being a zone, having him on that flat route will really open up space for the wide receiver on the deep out route. So let's do random play. So it might be zone this time. Looks like we still got man coverage, and we're going to win that like every single time. They would have to shade down and outside to have a chance. And even then, if they don't have one step ahead, you're probably going to win that route anyway. And right there, we're actually open. I think Kyler just skied that ball on us. But yeah, as you guys can see, against zone, if you have that tight end on that flat route, he will really pull the defenders down, and then you've got the streak from the outside receiver pushing the defenders up, and then a lot of times you just sneak in there right in between, and it is just such a great route. And especially when they're expecting an RPO Bubble Y Pop, their user's not going to be flying over to guard like a deep out route most of the time. And so right there, actually should have went to the tight end. That was a bad throw by me. You saw they did not collapse on the tight end. You got to take what's open. So if they give you the tight end, you just throw the tight end and take your 10 yards, just like that. That's what I should have done the previous play. But that's strong flood. And again, it's definitely a good one to have in your arsenal for when they start being the RPO Bubble Y Pop. All right, guys, so that is it for what I'm going to call the official Gun Y-Off Trips mini scheme. But I also want to show you one more thing, and this is what I would call experimental. This will maybe give you some insight into the different random things I mess around with in practice mode. By no means am I saying you should run this in a game. This is purely for fun. Mess around with it at your own risk. But I'm going to call Mtn Y Screen and do random play. And so, as the name would imply, our running back is going to go in motion pre-snap, and then we have a little screen to our tight end right here. And so what most people would do when they run this is they're just going to probably hike the ball and drop back and try to throw it to the tight end, and in that case get sacked. I don't know why the left side didn't block, because only the right side is even blocking for the screen. So that's another interesting thing about this play. So most people try to be running it like this, and you say, oh, this play is terrible. But this is what I'm experimenting with, guys. Because we have Escape Artist, at the snap, you can get this like really crazy speed boost and take it around to the outside. And it's only on this particular play where if you hold right with your left stick and hold the sprint button right after you snap the ball, you seem to just explode out of the pocket right there and then take this around the outside. And that's actually like a pretty big gain. And so this is something I want to try out in game. Now, I don't know if maybe in Mutt, the defensive lineman will be fast enough that you're not going to be able to turn this corner. Also, if you want to do that, you could like playmaker the tight end up if it looks like there's not any running room. You could still throw to the running back in motion if you wanted to. I don't know if that'd be a good play or not. I mean, right there went for like almost no yards. But I feel like there's some potential with this play. I also was looking at how you could actually use that same speed boost with Escape Artist. And right there, we actually didn't get it, which is interesting. That's my first time not getting it so far. Maybe you have to hold straight right on the stick. But if you got, and we almost got right there, potentially a quarterback run up the middle is what I'm curious about. And so right there, we actually did not get the right, like the true speed boost that I'm looking for. So I really do wonder if you have to have the stick pressed straight to the right. And right there, we went straight into defender. But what I was messing around with earlier, guys, is there's a little gap, this tiny little gap in between the D line that you might be able to just explode through. And again, right there, you know, it's not happening as fast as I really would like. And so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But this is just purely experimental. If you guys want to try something really stupid, give this a shot. I'm going to try and get it once for you, like the speed boost and go straight up the middle. Because it was working for me before. And again, that's not the speed boost I'm looking for. That's like a standard Escape Artist scramble, which is still much better than you can do with a normal quarterback. But the glitchiness, like right, that is what I'm looking for, guys. You see how fast that was? That's what I'm looking for right there. That's what I want to do every time. And so these are just little stupid things that we didn't get at that time. These are little stupid things I messed around with in practice mode, guys. Most of it's probably a waste of time. Most of it will probably never actually make the field for me. But it's just fun to like really try to get into the nitty gritty and find the little things that might break the game. There it is again right there. And so like, when would I want to use this? I have no idea. Maybe if someone's just used to the RPO Bubble Y Pop, and you want to just change it up on them. The other thing right there is you get a really bad rack animation with the running back on that motion screen. So that's another thing is I'd love to throw this, but he's not racking it very well either. So this will probably never make it onto the field for me, guys, but it can get a little bit glitchy, I think, with the quarterback running at least. I would say never ever throw it to the running back, and maybe throw it to the tight end occasionally, and then maybe practice doing some stuff with Escape Artist right here. So guys, that is it for the gun Y off trips mini scheme. I'm just gonna keep running this for the rest of the video. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found this interesting. And I'd love to hear what you guys find. If you guys can find a way to do something glitchy with this play or with any of the other plays to make these work really well, let me know. I mean, I'm clearly struggling on this one. And so I'm just going to be done with it for now. But guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I am really excited to keep bringing you guys more parts of this ebook. There's going to be a lot more because you guys saw 33 shotgun formations. We are just getting started on this ebook. We're going to be touching a whole lot of these. I'm thinking at least 6 or 7 or 8 parts for the spread playbook mini scheme. It's going to take us all the way until Madden 22. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel and support me as a creator. But as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great one, and I'll catch you in the next video.